The y-scale for our visualization helps to define the vertical positioning of the bars. The way that we did that is we defined a linear scale that goes from 0 to the total number of pieces of data that we have within our array. And that was done with data.length. The .length property returns the total number of indexes of any array. We have meaningful information here. Each of these bars stands for a donut type. We'll head to the code and take a look. Within the data array at lines 12 through 25, we can see that the objects have a key property, and that key property represents the name of the donut. Eventually, we're going to get to the point where we want to put labels on our chart, and in order to do that, we're going to need to have a way to attach the key to the y-axis. So more meaningful is to use that key as a scale. Now you think to yourself, well, we have strings here, how can we use that as a scale? Well, actually, if we just extract all of these keys, we would have an array of distinct values that we could then use in order to create what's called an ordinal scale. So a linear scale is a scale that's continuous, where you start at one number, end at another, and the numbers between are fluid and can be different values. An ordinal scale is where you have a set amount of values, and those values are distinct. So here, we'll create an ordinal scale for the y-axis. Let's go down to the current y-scale. What we'll do is we'll change this to d3.scale.ordinal. And now we'll need to have a domain that consists of distinct values. So now we're just saying a low value and a high value. When you use an ordinal scale, you have to have distinct values. We want to use the keys, and so to do that, we'll use a map function to extract the keys into a new array. So at line 42, we're just going to blank out the array, and then type data.map, and open some parentheses and close them, and then create a function in place, function, open and close parentheses, open and close curly brackets. Now, the map method of an array will allow you to return a new array according to the function that you pass in. We'll set the argument of the function to entry. That represents each item in the array. And we're going to create an array that consists of just the keys, so entry.key. Now for the range, when you create an ordinal scale, you can't use the range function. Instead, we need to use a function called range bands, because we have distinct values for our domain. So range bands will create distinct values according to the distinct values in the domain. Save it, and before we take a look in the web page, this is how we get values from the y-scale. Console.log y, and create some parentheses, and we would enter into y the key that we're going to use. So let's say it was cream for our cream-filled donut. So we would enter string cream, save it, head to the web page. Now this is going to break. That's okay. Just ignore the two errors below the value. We're most interested in this numeric value. So when we pass in the key cream to this ordinal scale, this is the y position value, 239.1666, etc. Head back to the code, and we don't need this any longer, but we need to fix all of our y-scale references. So now we'll head to the plot function that we created, and we'll take a look at y. So right now y is using the index. We don't want to do that. Instead, we want to use the key. So we'll substitute I for d.key. For the height, we use the value of the second index minus 1. The benefit of defining range bands is that we can then use the .rangeBand function to return the width of one range band. So let's delete the rest of this, except for the minus 1, we'll keep that. And so now we have set the height to be the height of one band. We need to change the y's in the text labels. So here, instead of y and passing in a numeric value, the index, again, we'll pass in the key, d.key. And for the adjustment, we will do, instead of y parentheses 1, y.rangeBand. And then don't forget the parentheses. This is a function. Save that and head to the browser and refresh. And there we go. Our chart is now fixed. So ordinal scales are important for when you're using discrete pieces of data. And it's pretty common that in a chart, one of your axes will be based on a linear scale and the other will be based on an ordinal scale. As we work throughout this course, you'll get a better sense of how these two types of scales work in combination with data visualizations in D3.